Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Makes Magic. I am I'm tired this week. I've just been doing so much and I'm really excited to record this episode. I also am entering my late luteal phase and so I need to get this recorded before I really go full gremlin, but I've been really irritated and angry this luteal phase and I'm planning to do an episode on the luteal phase, hopefully the next one. But I just want to reiterate that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel irritable. I'm excited to get into all of that in the luteal phase episode. But for today, we're going to talk about the energetic roots of endometriosis. This is a really big topic that I'm excited to talk about. I'm kind of nervous for some reason, but I'm really excited to chat about it because for me, on my womb awakening journey, endometriosis was truly the wake up call. It was my womb screaming at me, literally screaming at me to listen and to slow down and to be with my body. And there are just so many different threads to this. And I mean, I'm going to go into a good bit today, but I also want to emphasize that this is so unique to every individual and every woman. There are definitely common themes, but it is unique and we'll get into it. So before we begin, as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, share on your stories, tag me at _ it's Amanda Nicole. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing about what you love on the podcast, what you want to hear more of, what landed for you, all of the things. It really does mean a lot to me and I appreciate you guys so much for listening. So we're going to chat about the energetic and emotional roots of endometriosis. And endometriosis is a reproductive disease that impacts 1 in 10 women, which is a lot. And honestly, I think that more women have it and they just don't know. I could go off on a whole tangent, but 1 in 10 is still a lot. But there are a lot of women who have it and it's not detected or it goes unknown or unseen. And some women who have it don't experience the symptoms or the pain that comes with it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm who knows how accurate this 1 in 10 number is, but that's a lot of women. So I want to share about what endometriosis is on a physical level. And I want to note that there's still a lot of research coming out on it. And especially now, when I first started to experience it back in 2022, there was not a lot out there on it. It was, yeah, kind of crazy. So I am happy that there is more research happening on it, but I am also excited to just share the energetic and emotional aspects of it because I firmly believe that it is a disease like any other disease that should be treated holistically, and our medical system doesn't do a good job of that. So after we talk about the physical stuff, then we'll go into the energetic and emotional aspects. And then I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit about my own endo journey and how womb awakening truly helped so much and still does. I clearly swear by it. You guys should know that by now. But it really has helped a lot and I'm really passionate about it. So I'm excited to share. So on a physical level, endometriosis is a reproductive disease where tissue similar to the uterine lining grows outside of the uterus and is known to be caused by estrogen dominance, but I know there's more research coming out about that. In my own experience, and with my body. And again, this is why it really is so unique. But for me, I undermethylate. I don't fully know what a lot of these things mean surface level, but I undermethylate. And so my body essentially isn't detoxing properly. And so it can't detox excess estrogen properly. I have to do a really good job of supporting my detox pathways. Otherwise, the estrogen builds up and then that's what causes endometriosis. But again, this can differ person to person. I know that because I worked with a naturopathic doctor to figure that out. And so this tissue that grows outside of your uterus, it can grow around your uterus and like around like your bladder or your bowels or just anything in the reproductive space around your ovaries. But it also has been found in some people like way higher up, like diaphragm, even brain. I think it's been found on people's brains, which is so crazy. So it just like really works its way up your body. But endometriosis is very much so known as having excruciating periods, like excruciating. There's a lot that I just am not including here, but there's a lot around like the pain and the pain signals and like everything that is happening in your body with endometriosis. It's pretty interesting, but very, very painful. But aside from that symptom, there are many other symptoms that can happen. So one for me that was like my main symptom, honestly, was burning with urination. Like I felt like I had a UTI all the time. Never had a UTI. Like went to the doctors over and over again. They're like, "Oh, like you're fine," or "There's nothing wrong," or "Go see a urologist," or whatever. You know the drill. If you have endo, you know how it goes. But other symptoms are fatigue, getting sick often, chronic pelvic pain, pain with intercourse, painful bowel movements, fertility issues. Like it really does impact a lot. And yeah, just the pain and especially the fatigue was a really, really, really big thing for me. And so managing endometriosis on a physical level is really important. And again, like I mentioned, it's important to manage it from a holistic perspective. And so the physical is one of those aspects. And as we know, our medical system doesn't do a good job of managing it on a physical level. And so I mentioned that I worked with a naturopathic doctor. She helped me to kind of like understand what was going on and like why this was happening to me, and then was able to give me recommendations for supplements and my diet. And honestly, like not a ton changed. Like I was already gluten free, but that was a big one. She was like, definitely do not have gluten. Like that's super inflammatory. So basically anything inflammatory you want to get out of your diet. And so I really just eat like meats and fruits and vegetables and like rice and stuff, but I'm like, it's not that crazy. But even things like seed oils, those are really inflammatory, or sugar is a big one. I mostly eat a refined sugar-free diet. Occasionally I'll have sugar because you need to sometimes. I really like milkshakes, so that's like my go-to. But for the most part, I will eat a refined sugar diet, and it's actually like a lot yummier, you guys. I was telling my Spiral Path girls, gosh, on our last live call, we were talking about like food and nourishing your body and this and that. And I was like, if you guys need recipes, let me know, because cooking and baking is like my side quest. That's my side gig. I love baking. I don't love cooking. I love figuring out what I want to eat, like finding fun recipes. And then my sweet fiance, Wes, will cook them, which is really nice. I don't know why I don't like cooking. I just like something about it doesn't feel good, but like baking a little sweet treat, I love that. But I have recipes for everything, so let me know if you need some. But yeah, if you have endo and you don't necessarily want to get on medication for it, specifically hormone altering medication, then working with your diet and like taking care of your body on a physical level, and then also working with your womb on an energetic and emotional level are truly like the two keys to be able to manage and heal endometriosis. It's so crazy. I'll get into my journey, but one of the medications that one of the doctors suggested to me, he was like, "Oh, like we could do a trial for this medication for endo. You'll get it for free, but it's going to put you in a state of menopause." I was like, excuse me? I'm 26 years old. Like, no, absolutely not. So it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Alrighty, you guys, time for the fun stuff. So endometriosis on an energetic level. When I say energetic and emotional, they really go hand in hand. We know that energy is, or emotions are energy in motion, emotion, you know? So they go hand in hand, very much so. And like working with your emotions is you working with your energy and working with this on an energetic level. And so it's not like that out there. It's not that woo-woo. Like there's so much science coming out, and like my nerdy science side, I got my bachelor's in exercise science, and one of my favorite my favorite like types of classes were the ones where I was in a couple master's classes where we would just like read peer-reviewed scientific articles and like really get into the nitty-gritty of them, and I loved that. And so that's why I really like doing this work, because I'm able to dig into everything. But there's a lot coming out now, you guys, about just like energy and energetics and emotions and the body and the fascia and like just so many different things. It's really cool. So this isn't woo-woo, and womb awakening is not woo-woo. Working with your womb is not woo-woo. It might feel woo-woo because it gets a little woo-woo. How many times can I say woo-woo? But is also still like very grounded, practical, backed work. And I want to say too, I mean, I again like have had my own personal experience, and I really had my own personal experience before I started to dive into actually learning about this stuff, which I think is really cool too, because I had that experience and then was able to lead myself through it and then be like, okay, I want to learn more. I want to share this medicine and this magic with people. And so there's a lot of different places that I pull my like research from, I guess. I read a lot of books. There are a lot of books written by doctors. And so a lot of this information does come from people with that background. It comes from my experience with clients and women that I work with. There's a lot of sources here. So I just felt like pointing that out because, again, a lot of people try to like brush this off again as like being too woo-woo or like not real or whatever, and it's very real, I promise. So endometriosis is essentially the physical manifestation of suppressed emotions within the womb. So we know that our wombs hold a lot. This is just like known. You hear it around town. Your hips hold on, like your trauma stored in your hips, all the things. But our wombs, especially, and just our connection to the women who came before us, to our mom, to our grandma, and so on. I say it, I feel like, in every freaking episode, but so connected. And so if we think about your own life and think about all of the times that you, as a young girl, as a not young girl, a girl in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. How many times have you suppressed your emotions? How many times have you felt angry or rageful or irritated or whatever, and you've just shoved it down, just like pushed it down because you don't want to feel it. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's not good to feel that. We're taught that it's not good. How many times have you done that? Probably a lot, because we all have. That's just unfortunately like how women have been taught to be and conditioned to be. And then for us in this generation and women living now, like we have a lot more access to be able to do this, and we're learning things. Like obviously here I am talking to you about it, teaching you about it. Like we're learning these things. We have the space to do this, but our moms didn't. Our grandmas definitely didn't. Our great grandmas certainly didn't. And so just think about all the times that they all had to just shove it down and hold it together and not express it, not have anywhere to express it to, like anybody to express it to. I mean, obviously, yes, there were probably some women who were lucky enough to have maybe friends that they could or husbands who were supportive, but that wasn't the case for a lot of women. And societally, like it just wasn't accepted for women to express these things, which we're actually going to get into hysteria, which I talked about, I think, in episode 1. So I'm excited to get back into that, but let me touch on a few things first. I wrote down that endometriosis is essentially the chains that have been wrapped around you and the women who came before you. So again, those chains of suffering, staying quiet, neglecting your own emotional needs. And it's crazy because I, of course, take myself on these womb journeys. And there's been multiple times where I have seen either chains wrapped around my womb, like very much so squeezing my womb, or even barbed wire I've seen around my womb. Energetically did practices to unwrap that and unravel that. But it just like that visual of just like chains wrapped around the womb is so real. And like if you have endometriosis, that's kind of what it feels like. And a really big one that is maybe a tough pill to swallow if you have endometriosis is blaming your womb, feeling resentful and angry towards your womb because of this disease. And it's like, yeah, that's valid. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel resentful because it fucking sucks. It is so hard. And there is the reality of that I 1000% understand. Like, there were truly moments while I was in the like depths of my endometriosis where I was like, I cannot live like this. I cannot live the rest of my life feeling this way. And so I get it. But that also feeds the problem. It feeds the problem when we are not loving and honoring ourselves and loving and honoring our womb, and more specifically, menstruation. That builds up and that just like fuels the fire of endometriosis. And so, a really big part of healing endometriosis on this level is learning how to love and accept what is happening, which again is hard. And it really plays into being in a victim mindset. And this is something that I have worked through a lot and continue to work through with endo, with chronic pain from my car accident, with just like different struggles in life. And it's something that my therapist has called me out on a lot. So I'm calling you guys out now. If that is something that you are moving through, one, it's valid. It's okay. We literally all do it, but it is just feeding the fire. We really, as women, are just conditioned to see our wombs as something that is bad or shameful. I mean, our entire reproductive space, but especially menstruation. And of course, endometriosis being like most present while menstruating. Again, it can impact you throughout your entire cycle. If you have it, you know this, but menstruation is when it's like really bad because it hurts. There's a lot of pain. And we have just been conditioned to see menstruation as a curse, as something to hide away, to shove down, to push past, to override. The last episode, episode 10 of this episode, the last episode, episode 10, I talked about menstruation and I talked about the like spiritual and energetic aspects of menstruation. So I highly recommend listening to that if you are listening to this and you have endometriosis. But we've been taught to, again, feel shame for menstruation and override it rather than honor and revere it as like the beautiful, powerful process that it is. And this, again, in turn, fuels that fire because that just like fuels all of that shame and suppression and overriding our body, overriding our needs, overriding our emotional needs as women. And that builds up energetically within our womb and will then cause endometriosis. Okay, let's chat about hysteria. I actually really enjoy learning about this, which is kind of funny, but hysteria comes from the Greek word hystera, which means uterus. And so this is when women's emotional expressions were pathologized as a wandering womb. And so for centuries, women's like anger, their emotional outbursts, their pain, their intuition, their truth telling was dismissed as hysteria. So if they were experiencing any of this, if they were angry, if they were emotional, if they were literally just in their feminine expression, is what it was, they would be sent to the doctor and they'd be diagnosed with hysteria. So this is interesting because endometriosis pain is also often dismissed by doctors and dismissed as women being too dramatic or too emotional. And so that like really feeds this wound that we hold on to around hysteria and around like not being able to express the things that we are feeling. And so when we're told that our pain isn't real or we're overreacting about it, that literally again gets stored in our womb. And so your womb with endometriosis is essentially like screaming what you were not allowed to express. So kind of back to what we just chatted about, but it's interesting to tie hysteria into that. And endo can just be the way that our body, and endo can really be the way that our body makes the pain like so undeniable that it can no longer be dismissed. And again, if you have endo, you know this. Like if you truly are struggling every single month with this pain, like it gets so loud and consuming, but it's your womb begging for your attention. So another really big thing that I wanted to tie into this that I've kind of talked about before is good girl conditioning, and the fact that women and girls are conditioned to be the good girl, to be nice, to be palatable, to be the people pleaser, to always be everything for everybody rather than just being, again, in their truth and in their expression, because the truth and the expression of women has been demonized. They literally got diagnosed with hysteria for it and were locked away in their homes, I think. But I don't know. It still blows my mind. It's kind of like, it creeps me out a little bit. But essentially, our womb like holds all of the imprints of every time that we've like shrunk ourselves down, of every time that we haven't allowed ourselves to express, and that builds up within our womb and causes stagnation, causes things like endometriosis. And with the good girl conditioning, I mean, this is like a really big thing to move through and work through if you do have endo, is to really take a look at where you are the people pleaser. Where do you say yes when you really mean no? Where are you not honoring yourself? Where are you not honoring your boundaries? Where are you not allowing yourself to express your emotions? Where are you making everybody else comfortable and sacrificing your own comfort and your own expression? And again, this is just something that women for generations have been conditioned to do. We have always been conditioned to make everybody else comfortable. It's crazy because I have a good, beautiful friend of mine. If you're listening, you're going to know exactly who you are because we send about 1 million voice notes to each other every single day. But I just remember us talking once about, I think she was sharing with me that she was in a situation with guys and like a guy made a comment that made her uncomfortable. So like she said something to him like, hey, that's not funny. Like you shouldn't talk about that. Whatever. Called him out for this comment that men sometimes make that are uncomfy. And then he was uncomfortable. And it's like, it's okay to make them uncomfortable. It's okay to make other people uncomfortable if you are using your voice, if you are standing up, if you are advocating for yourself. But we, again, have been taught that that's not okay for so long. And of course, again, like the women who came before us, our moms, more specifically, I would say like our grandmas, our great grandmas, like those generations, like women did not have a voice then. Like they did not have a voice. And we do now. And so just taking that opportunity to really explore that within yourself. And it takes time. Like it really does take time, you guys, because you're not just going to wake up one day and be like, okay, I've got all these boundaries and I'm going to uphold them and I'm going to tell everybody this and that and this and that. Like it's a process and it's uncomfy. I was even reading one of the books that I was pulling some information from, and it was talking about menstruation and how like if we're in pain during menstruation, if like we're not in the mood to do something during menstruation, we usually will either override that and go do the thing, or we will be like I'm feeling a little under the weather, or my tummy hurts, or whatever. Like we'll make up any excuse instead of just being like, hey, I'm on my period. Like I don't want to come. I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the capacity for that. And it's funny because soon after developing endo, like I started to really learn those boundaries. I really had to, because it's like, what do? You're literally in excruciating pain, right? And so I had to learn those boundaries. And there were people that I would express that to, that I'd be like, hey, I'm not going to make it, or like, I'm not going to agree to that plan or whatever, because I'm going to be bleeding, because I don't want to. And like, even just not wanting to, this friend who I just mentioned, who we send voice notes back and forth to, she was acknowledging that she recently started to be able to own that, to be able to just be like, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to say no, I don't want to. And like that's that, and that should be enough. But again, we as women have been taught that like we need to justify everything. But back to menstruation, it's just crazy because like I started to uphold those boundaries and be like, you know what, I'm bleeding, I'm not going to come, I know I'm not going to feel good that day, so I'm not going to agree to this plan. And it rubbed people the wrong way. I know that for sure. And that's okay. That's okay. Because again, like the people who are meant to be in your life, the people who love you, the people who support you are going to honor that. They're going to allow you to stand up for and honor yourself and honor your body. Like that's a non-negotiable as a woman, especially if you were dealing with something like endometriosis. And the other aspect that ties into this with the good girl conditioning is the suppressed dark feminine. You guys know me, I love the dark feminine. It's what this whole season is about. So of course we had to tie her in. But Again, this is the aspect of us as women that has been shamed, that has been suppressed and shoved down and made out to be bad or evil or wrong or literally whatever. And so the dark feminine is our mystery. It is our rage, our anger, our destruction. It is our intuition. It's the unknown. It's just like all of these like darker, mysterious aspects. And so when we lose connection with our dark feminine, we lose connection with literally a whole half of our being that is so important. And again, this is when we start to fall into those people pleasing behaviors and try to be palatable and putting ourselves in a box and this and that. Reconnecting back to your dark feminine, like this has been big for me, like really big. And even back to the good girl conditioning and the boundaries, like the dark feminine has boundaries and she owns them. And so doing that again, like helps to clear this from your womb and helps you step back into your power and honor your emotional needs. Okay, you guys, time to chat about my story. Sometimes this is tough for me. It's just like tough sometimes to chat about things that aren't so pretty. And again, like I've had experiences where I've tried to open up about these things with certain people in my life and it just wasn't taken well. It wasn't supported in any way. So there's that. But I got off birth control back in late 2021, early 2022. I had the intuitive nudge to get off birth control. I had no reason to do this other than my intuition was telling me to. And it's interesting because at the time I knew intuitively that like it was going to be difficult, that it was going to be a journey, and I was scared to do it. I definitely was nervous. I wasn't sure what to expect. And again, like, especially then, there wasn't a lot out there about any of this, like any cycle stuff. It's really blown up more in the last couple of years, which is beautiful. Like, we need that. And so I was just very much so in the dark, whatever. Got off birth control, and about 3 months went by, and then things started to just go downhill. I just started to not feel good. Things started to feel off. I, again, mentioned like one of my biggest symptoms was burning with urination. And so my periods weren't like super painful right off the bat. I think the main symptom was really like the burning with urination, like literally constantly felt like I had a UTI. And I went to see my OBGYN to express all these things to her, to tell her how I was feeling. I was like, I am like pretty confident that I have endometriosis. Like, one, we all know our bodies so damn well. And the fact that we're so dismissed by doctors is infuriating. And so I went to her hoping, and the only way to get diagnosed with endometriosis then, and I think still, I think that now they're starting to figure out a way to do it with your blood. But then it was, you had to have a laparoscopy. They had to go in and actually find it because even ultrasounds can't pick up on it. And so I was hoping to have that, to have a diagnosis, and then be able to like move forward with some sort of plan that wasn't birth control. And I expressed that to her. And she told me that my only option was to get back on birth control and that I had to fail multiple medical interventions before she would do a laparoscopy on me. I was like, okay, thank you. But I just said that I don't want to get back on birth control. So that was the last time I ever saw her. And so I really just went on this journey of womb awakening, like while I was trying to figure it out. And I was just like, you know what? I'm determined and like I'm feeling really called to doing this. I'm like, it feels foreign, but I know that there's a lot living within my womb. I really went on a journey of like releasing some past sexual partners and doing a lot of like ancestral healing in my womb, really like doing a lot, you guys. And I honestly, like, I just led myself on this. I didn't have any background in it necessarily. I just intuitively guided myself through this process, which again, I think is so special because I've gone on to get different certifications and have learned so much. And a lot of it has truly just been like confirmation of my own findings and my own intuition with it. But it was really cool to just like have that experience and guide myself through it and then move on to learning more about it. But I did a lot of this for a long time and kind of paused on finding a doctor to diagnose me and just focused on this. And honestly, like for the most part, my symptoms were good. My symptoms were pretty good. I wasn't experiencing too much pain during my periods. The burning with urination went away. I still definitely like had some of that fatigue, whatever. And then, gosh, 2023 rolled around. Late 2023, I ended up, or maybe like mid 2023, I found a doctor who, it was a man, surprisingly, actually. But he did the ultrasound, everything, listened to me, listened to my symptoms, whatever. And he was like, you know what? Like, I'm not seeing anything in the ultrasound, which is common, but I will absolutely do the laparoscopy to diagnose. And if there's any in there, then we'll remove it. And so I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Like, I am feeling fine. I'm like, I don't necessarily need this, whatever. And then late 2023, I ended up doing it just to get the diagnosis. And then obviously it was in there. And so they removed it, which was great. But yeah, I mean, I was in a space where I was like, I didn't necessarily need it, but I was quitting my corporate job January of 2024 and I had really good health insurance, you guys. And so I also wanted to do it before that to have that official diagnosis. And yeah, so I had that surgery, had the excision surgery. I forget, I think it was stage 2, perhaps. I don't fully remember. But then after the surgery, my cycles were like pretty rough and it's tough. Getting the surgery is beautiful and it's great. Like that's good to get that removed. But if you have endometriosis, you know that it grows back unless you're doing something to keep it at bay, to keep it from growing back. And so it's not like you just get surgery and it's a one and done thing. Like you have to continuously work with it. And so after getting the surgery, that was when it was that doctor who was like, okay, well, we could put you on this medication, but it's going to put you in a state of menopause. And so, of course, I didn't want to do that. And he's like, well, you could get back on birth control, like gave me different medication options. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to figure it out on my own. And here I am living to tell the tale, you guys. What is it? March of 2026. That was a couple months after surgery that I was struggling pretty badly with my cycles, and surgery too, just like in the womb space, in the reproductive space, that also will leave imprints. And so it's really important to do this womb awakening, womb healing work, this energetic work to clear that out. I mean, for like any surgery, honestly, entire body, but of course we focus on the womb in my world. And yeah, I think, I mean, it's normal to have some pain after surgery as well. And then, yeah, I just focused a lot on both my womb awakening practices and just focusing on nourishing my body in the way that my body needs. And so much of that too is, again, honoring my body, honoring my cycle, honoring the times where I am giving too much and I need to pour back into myself, honoring my emotions and allowing myself to move them and to express them. And I had one really painful cycle back in September of 2025. I almost said 2024, but last year was 2025. How nutty is that? Time flies, baby. Really bad cycle back in September of 2025. Like, probably the most painful period I've ever had, honestly. And like just came out of nowhere. Well, not really, but we'll get into it. I was guiding because like it was bad, you guys. I was like, and if you have endo, you like know this pain of like, do I need to go to the emergency room? Like, yes, but no, because what are they going to do there? They won't do anything and they can't truly. Maybe painkillers, but so I went out into my yard, laid down, and started to just breathe really deeply into my womb, guiding myself on a womb awakening journey, really connecting to my womb. It was an insane experience, you guys. It was insane. But the wisdom that came up from that was just like having this really tight grip. And like I could see it, like my womb was just being like squeezed so hard. And it was just this like tight grip that I had on life and this tight grip that I had on like trying to make money and all of these different things, trying to make things work. And especially like money and abundance and like being taken care of and the safety and the scarcity and just like all of those really deep wounds. That was what was coming up with that cycle. And so I continued with that practice, continued breathing into my womb, clearing that out, letting myself feel and express and all of the things. And after that, I haven't had like super painful cycles. Like that helped a lot. And so I just like really try to remain consistent now all the time. All the time it's important, but especially during menstruation to one, slow down, and two, connect with my womb, to connect with my womb, to see what she needs, to see what she's releasing. What are we letting go of this cycle? And like really tapping into that and working with it intentionally to continue to clear things out, because our bodies are so intelligent as women, and we like that is our cycle. Again, go back to episode 10, listen to the menstrual episode. But this is when our body is clearing things out, when it is purifying, and when we're not intentional with that, when we're overriding that, especially like if you're just going, you don't want to sit with that, you don't want to be with it, you override it, it's going to keep coming back. It will keep coming back more and more and more. And it's going to be painful, you guys. And we as women, like we need this. Like we need to sit with ourselves. We need to be with ourselves and pour into ourselves and listen to our bodies and do what our bodies are telling us to do. So yeah, that's my endo story, at least what I can think of for now. But hopefully that's helpful. And yeah, I mean, like womb awakening truly has helped so much. And again, in those moments where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing everything right, I'm eating right, like for the most part, it's like a 95% of the time type of thing. Like nobody's perfect. Don't expect yourself to be perfect with those things. But like I was eating right. I was sleeping fine, which my sleep is a whole thing, but I was actually sleeping well in that period of my life. I was moving my body, all of the things. And when I'm doing all of those things and there's still something going on, there's still pain there, that's when I know, like, okay, this is energetic, this is emotional. I need to sit with this. I need to be with this. And that's what womb awakening does and allows you to do. Yeah. I think that's it for today, you guys. Hopefully. I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to end up doing more on endo and menstruation and the luteal phase and just all of these different things that are so deep. And again, there are so many layers to them, but we're going to leave it at that for today. If you are struggling with endometriosis, I just want to leave you with one, it can get better. Like I am living proof that it can. It takes time. It certainly takes time, and it takes devotion to you. It takes devotion to yourself and your body and loving yourself and accepting yourself. That is such a big key piece of it. And sometimes that's hard. And that's okay. But I want to offer you guys this. I do offer one-to-one sessions and mentorship packages. If you have endometriosis, this is something that I do work with on the emotional and energetic level. And so, yeah, if you're doing all of the things, if you're trying every single thing out there and nothing is working, I would love to help you, truly, because again, like I mentioned at the beginning, there were times where I was like, I cannot live like this. I truly cannot live the rest of my life, or a majority of my life, the rest of my bleeding years like this. It's hard. It is so hard. It is so debilitating, but it doesn't have to be your truth. Like that doesn't have to be a forever thing for you. And yeah, it is. It's possible to move past that, to actually bring like true healing at the root. So let me know if that is you. I'm here to help and sending you so much love. But thank you guys for listening. I will see you next time.